What's going on, y'all? It's your man June Archer here, the winner circle on thisis50.com. Today, I have a legend, an icon, someone who I have looked up to for many, many years along my journey as a recording artist and a musician. So it is with sincere pleasure and honor that I introduce. He doesn't even need an introduction. One of the members of the greatest entertaining family of all time. Please give it up for Mr. Tito Jackson. Tito, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, June?
Man, listen, I woke up this morning. I can't even complain, but it is a blessing to be here sitting with you doing this interview. And I'm so excited about this new album. And we're going to get into that. But there's a couple things, man, I just want to dig into, man. I'm
Okay.
excited to have you here. I want you to take a walk with me down memory lane. And I want you to take a walk down 2300 Jackson Street with me if you can. And I just want to ask, man, we saw the movie. We fell in love with the movie. We saw the pillow fights and the playing of baseball. How
hmm
much fun did you guys have growing up as the Jacksons?
Well, we had a lot of fun because what you saw well, I don't know where you saw it on TV or movies or whatever, that actually happened, and we were practical little jokers, basically. But our friends were basically us after a while, each other. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, were those pillow fights real? Was that something that you do? Who was the jokester of the family? Who was the one that said, if you don't knock it off, stop playing. Can't you be serious? Who was that person?
That was my oldest brother. Yeah,
Wow.
the oldest one tried to keep us in line, but it was too much for him to handle.
Now, let's talk about the contrast. You have the older brother, but then you have Randy. Randy was the last member to come in as a family member for the Jacksons. With everything that you guys went through, being rushed out of venues and being followed on trains, planes, and automobiles, did you feel as one of the siblings, and maybe it's the older one, that you had to protect Randy, or were you kind of like overprotective of him because you guys had kind of been in it and experienced a lot of that celebrity and that stardom and that fandom? Like, did you feel like you had to protect Randy when he came into the group?
Well, Randy was a good man. He basically, well, I remember when we would leave to go on the road, he would basically be at the gate pushing the button for and opening the gate and crying, because he wanted to go also. And we used to always tell him to keep practicing. You almost ready. You almost there, Randy. Keep practicing. So when he finally got in the group, I remember he did a concert and his part came up, his solo part. But he was looking around in the audience, looking at all the people. Uh, One of the brothers had to scream out, "Randy, play! Randy, play!" He got to his little thing. Yeah, he learned a lot. But as far as protection, we had security guards and things of that nature that basically looked out for our protection and things like that. So it wasn't too much. Of course, you're going to protect your little brother, but
Right.
it wasn't a thing where we had to really buckle down and watch him like that because we had other adults around us at all times.
Now, I want to talk about that piece, security guards and protection. Like, how many people did you have? And also, I want to talk about Bill Bray. Bill Bray was someone who worked with you guys for a very long time. How was that relationship? And I know it was like a father-son relationship, especially with your brother. But for you guys, like, how was it trying to navigate everything with security guards all around you guys?
Well, Bill Ray was the head of security, and like he was the second father to us. He was there when we recorded, there when we went on airplanes, on stage, even went to school sometime, and or whatever the situation would be, he would be available and right there. And we usually travel with about three security guards at that time, and
Now,
plus we hired local police and security as well.
right. Now, how were you guys able to navigate, some of these things that you guys saw as young men, teenagers, the girls, the attention, especially having strict parents and the two people who who not only brought you here but gave you the opportunity of gift and song. Like, how was it trying to navigate, trying to be not really promiscuous, but just, man, wow, just want to talk to, a young lady and just, rap to them, and just, try out a couple things, try out a couple lines, trying to not be the Tito Jackson, but hey, I'm Tito. I just want to holler at you real quick.
Well, I think we experienced the same thing as all young men. You have that interest in girls or whatever, but we were mostly type of men, one lady man, and we picked our girls out of high school or things of that nature. But we had a choice, and I was the first brother to wed, so that was something, and I wedded very early, had my kids early. That's
Yeah,
why,
you got married at 18 to your sweetheart. And that
yeah,
was, yeah. And
yeah,
three amazing young men. Uh,
yeah.
I had the opportunity to interview TJ. I was telling you off screen that you did such a great job with those young men, and they had their own careers. Two things here. Who influenced you? Because I know that you definitely influenced them, and the family was an influence to them. But who influenced you to pick up a guitar? Because I'll reference the movie again. You took Joe's guitar, and something happened to the guitar. You got in trouble, but you fell in love with that instrument, and you've been blessing us with song ever since. Who have been your inspiration from day one, and who continues to inspire you?
Well, who inspired me to have interest in the guitar? I would have to say uh, my uncle Luther and my father, because they used to jam on the weekends, and I would sit there and stare at their fingering and everything, and try it with my father. Put his guitar away and went to work. But at that time, we were young boys, and we were listening to a lot of Temptations and a group called Bread and Three Dog Night, things like that. And we worked and practiced and worked hard and used to make a lot of noise while my father's trying to sleep. He telling us to be quiet in the room. And my mom said one day, "I think you need to listen to them." And he
Mm.
said, "Those boys can't sing. They ain't got nothing." She said, "No, I'm serious. I think you need to listen." He
Wow.
he gave us the audition, and he was amazed. Took his paycheck, went down to the music store, bought microphones and stands and amps and all kind of things, and started putting us on a regular schedule. And he would be involved in our rehearsals and things. And I guess he saw something or something that his vision was much clearer than ours, because we were just kids having fun and trying to be like the people we saw on TV or had their records. And he, I guess he felt this can go somewhere. This could be our ticket out of this situation. So he made it happen. I have to give a lot of credit to my father, Joseph Jackson.
Now, how were those? Because I want to step into the rehearsal. I want to step into the studio. What were those moments like, recording and practicing and just getting prepared for concerts? What did that entail? Like, how did that feel? What was the schedule like?
Lots and lots and lots of work, more than you can imagine. But at that time, we wanted to be superstars so badly, and being kids, you don't realize the work you put in until later in life. We just did it willingly and having fun, whatever it was, whether it was learning a new song or changing the show up or whatever, having an interview like such as we having, everybody giggling and laughing, young kids, so it was a lot of fun, man. I think of the Jackson 5 days, and those were some of the happier days in my career.
Now, 2300 Jackson Street, we know famously from where you guys grew up in the song. Big family, small house. How did that work? You guys, I mean, there's definitely love there, Tito. There's so much love. But then when you hear about stories of big families and small places. You guys made it work, but what was the magic? What was the theme that was woven in the Jackson
I think
family that
I
allowed you
think
guys to just be in that space?
I think it was the familyhood. My mom was very loving and instilled a lot of love into her family. My father was too at times, but he was strict at the same time, having all the boys he had. He had to be, because it wasn't the best of neighborhoods we grew up in at that time. But it was a lot of fun. We had fun with each other, which was the most important thing as kids. When you don't have the toys and things of that nature, you find ways to have fun, whether it's building a go kart or bicycle, going to the junkyard and getting bike parts. All of these crazy things. So we made it fun.
Who was the most athletic? Because I know that, especially yourself, love baseball. Even took it so far as to have baseball uniforms that look like outfits, especially when you got, I think it was a Triumph tour, and you had like the baseball, you know, outfits on, and like who was the most athletic, and how did you fall in love with baseball?
Well, I think Jackie would be probably the most athletic brother,
Mhm.
the oldest as well. But I fell in love with baseball because we lived directly behind a little league field. So I got to play little league for 1 year. Then the music kicked in, and everything was music from that point. But Jackie played a full range of little league seasons, and he played until high school, I believe. But he was definitely the most athletic in baseball and basketball. I was just a baseball guy practically. So I think that possibly if the Jacksons weren't singing, he probably could have made it to the pros. He
Hmm.
was that good. I have a son that's very good at the sport as well. That chose singing over baseball. Um, and he was very good too. They retired his number even at his high school. Yes.
Man, who's the most musical out of the Jacksons?
Well, I would say the most musical. I would say creative wise, I would have to give that to MJ.
Hmm.
He was just unusual talent. His vision was tremendous, and his ideas was tremendous as well. I would have to say the Michael was when it came to his personal music. But as a group, I think we all were very instrumental in pitching in and making music and songs as well as we could as a group and family. And that's doing most of the Jacksons albums.
Now, I want to talk about this new album. I got the opportunity to peel it back. Um, I'm excited about this album. New album, Under Your Spell. And you have so many amazing people on this project. Stevie Wonder, family. Eddie Levert, legend. Marlon, family. George Benson, amazing. Uh, what was the inspiration behind this album?
Well, it was a funny thing because I had started this album right prior to the COVID lockdown, and I was touring with the BB King band. I had been touring with them for a few years, and we were talking about doing a tribute song for BB, and we had cut the track of "Rock Me Baby," and we didn't have anything else but just a basic track. And we were headed to California, and we were going to go through Arizona. And one of the stagehands knew George Benson because George Benson and I had worked 3 years prior, and we talked about possibly maybe doing something in the future. Never came to light, but he knew George Benson, so we had this musical track. We stopped by George. He invited us by his place, and we stopped by his place and told him what we wanted to do. He participated in it. Of course, he was eager, and we went to a studio in Scottsdale, a place where he does his recording. and put his parts on and sung the lead vocals at the same time, same session.
Love One Another is the lead single. Video amazing. I think it's over maybe 200 cameos in there.
Mhm.
This song, I want you to talk about the inspiration behind that and being in the situation we've been in over the past. I don't want to say just year and a half, but the last administration and what we've kind of gotten so far away from in terms of humanity. And one of the things that the Jacksons always led with was love, right? Not just for one another, human
Whoa,
beings.
yeah.
What was the inspiration behind this?
Well, we had finished the album pretty much ready to mix, and after listening to it a few times down, I said, everything sounds good, the songs are good, but we need a song that's talking about what's going on today. You know, something that'll lift the people up and remind them to take care and love each other. And that's how that song came into existence. It was the last song that we wrote for the album, and it's a good song. It's a great message. And as far as the cameos on the song, of course, I had my brother Marlon. He was no problem, and Bobby Rush, a two-time Grammy winner, who was eager to participation, as well as Kenny Neal, American blues band, and Stevie Wonder. Last but not least, um, asked him to come on, give us some harmonica. He wanted to know what kind of track was it. Is it fast, slow? I told him it's medium tempo, but you will sound great on it. And of course, he does, and he put his parts on, and we came up with the song. And I'm proud of the song because I think the message in the song is stronger than the song itself. Uh, it, it it talks about sharing love and peace and walking together and talking together, going for the same thing as in life, and that's just love. Doesn't cost a thing.
People are going through so many things, Tito. Whether it's COVID, losing loved ones, losing their jobs, trying to figure out a way to buy a new home, hold on to their home, put their kids through school. What is the best piece of advice that you've been got have maybe received from maybe your mom or your dad, or just along your journey that you could share with somebody who's watching and listening today that will help them find the light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, the most important thing is yourself, your health. Don't stress on things where it makes you sick over. Certain things you have to realize you can do something about, and certain things you just can't do nothing about. You have to let that go, but never give up on the prize and keep striving and pray and be a great person because God rewards those who are good and loving to each other. So just remember those things, and things should turn around for you.
When you find yourself in situations where we all have days that aren't as good as the next, what do you lean on to get you through those tough days or tough situations?
Well, I just think about all the wonderful things that I've been provided in life, and how wonderful it is to still have life, and thank the Lord up above for all these things. And those are the things that um, I'm thankful for. Just to wake up the next day and feel healthy is present gift within the self. So when you think along those lines, it makes it a little easier to accept uh, uh, days that might be a little tribulation or whatever.
You've given us music for decades, great music, solo music, music with your brothers. Music has changed, especially R&B music, and you're in the music of blues, and we need that now more than ever. What message do you want people to walk away from after listening to this album?
Well, what I was basically trying to get, because blues is a foundation of all popular music, basically, but somehow it's always been in the background and needing attention. I think by doing a blues album, maybe I can lure some of the Jackson fans or fans that follow me or whatever to the music. And it's a thing that I learned how to play guitar and music just by listening to blues because it was the music that my parents listened to back in the day. And it's so relevant to what we do. Other artists, whether it's a Bruno Mars or James Brown or Prince or Michael, it's all very relevant in the musical sense. So I was just basically doing the music I love and wanted to support it when I created Under Your Spell.
And after doing it for so long, what continues to motivate you after all these years?
Well, it's a we talked about me being the first brother to marry. Then I had kids 2 years later, and I wanted to basically raise my boys, and not be a solo artist. Being a Jackson Five member kept me busy and chasing a solo career and having a wife and kids that would really made it over the top. So I decided to wait. And now I'm at a time where I have all the time in the world, and not to be a member of the family who had released a record in the earlier days. I'm last, but I want to show I'm last, but I'm not least. So that's basically been an inspiration to wanting to do this music for a long time and finally really getting the opportunity to present it.
And I'm glad you did, and I'm certain so many people who get this album will see why you need it in your life. Music is a soundtrack to our lives. For you, which song best represents your journey up to this point? Or what artist embodies your journey up to this point?
I like spirited music, things like "You Are the Sunshine of My Life" and "Can You Feel It" and "Love One Another, Heal the World." Those type of things. It always bring me to a position where I want to, where I feel great and I feel thankful for being here and being able to share my musical abilities to the world. So I'm very grateful for that, and I like to just say thank you to all the millions of fans that have supported just not only me but my entire family throughout the years. Thank you very much, because without you, it wouldn't be a no us.
You guys are the greatest entertainment family ever. MJ is the king of pop. Are there any artists that you look at today that you give them the nod and say, "Great job, young man," or "Great job, young woman," doing music now?
There's one artist that I really adore his music, as far as his musical talents as a songwriter and an artist, and that's Bruno Mars. I think he's more on target with what I would call good music.
Mm, mm. Any instrumentalists that you like? Because there's not too many Tito Jacksons or Prince, Princes out there or George Bensons. Uh, how do you feel about musicianship and bringing that back to the forefront and having bands? We don't have bands like we used to.
No, we don't have bands nor groups the way we used to, and I think it's something that people need to get back into. I think they need to put music back in the school systems because it's a way of keeping the kids out of the streets and wanting to do something better with their time instead of playing maybe a video game. They can share half of that time or some of that time with a musical instrument. And a music business is not an easy business, but if they don't do it, who's going to do it? Somebody's got to do it. So why not?
I just had the opportunity, as we're trying to reimagine education, to open up the June Archer School of Arts, where we teach young people the business of music and some of the things around it: artist development, um, licensing, publishing, DJing, artist design, graphic design. What would
Mhm.
you say to parents and students who are looking to get into the entertainment business, and especially the June Archer School of Arts, to kind of inspire and motivate them to give our young people the tools to be successful?
Well, the only message I can say that is what I remember was a guide for us was to work hard at it because it's not easy. Don't give up if you truly believe, and work every day like it's your first day of work. You know, the the way to a long journey is the first step. You know, you have to keep on walking, and if you really truly have what it takes, it'll be recognized. That's that's the best advice I can give is to never give up.
What was the fondest memory that you have of your late amazing brother, Michael Jackson?
Wow, there was a lot of those. He was a practical joker too, you know. But Michael was a very caring, very loving person. He cared about everything and everybody. So I would have to say, to have him as a brother was the most fondest memory that I can have because he was a wonderful person.
Where can we get this album? It's on every platform. How can they follow you? How can they like you? How can they support what you're doing right now?
Well, they can find my music course on titojackson.com, which will lead you to iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, all the musical outlets. And it's also available in CD and vinyl as well. So, Under Your Spell, there's a blues recording that has great features on it, as well as my brother Steve Powell, Claudette King, BB King's daughter, George Benson, Stevie Wonder, Eddie Levert, and Joe Bonamassa. So I'm pretty sure you would enjoy the music and give it a chance.
That's what I think too, brother Tito Jackson. Listen, Under Your Spell is out on every platform right now. The video is out. So many amazing features. Stevie Wonder, Marlon Jackson, George Benson. The list goes on and on. That's Tito Jackson, the legend himself. I'm June Archer for the Winner Circle here on This Is 50.com. Like it, love it, share it. Like he said, love one another. Humanity has to come back in the forefront. Make sure you take the opportunity. If you fall in love with something, put the work in. Act as if and work as if it's your first day and your dreams will come true. I want to thank him. We love him. We're going to be supporting you, brother. We appreciate you. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you
Peace.
very much.